Hi Aquarius, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly report for the month of July. The month of June was incredibly intense emotionally and very revealing and very draining, and we were in the midst of eclipse season, which really began in the middle of May. We had a new moon in Taurus, and that began the eclipse season because pretty soon after there was a total lunar eclipse that took place at 5 degrees and 25 minutes of the mutable fire sign of Sagittarius. And for you, this took place in your house of friends and groups and connections. And it squared Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion and abundance. Jupiter was in your sign for a good part of the year, and it briefly has entered the mutable water sign of Pisces, where it will be until July 28th, and then it's going to re-enter your sign until the end of the year when it leaves on December 29th. So you're not done with the benefits and expansion of Jupiter in your sign, which brings a lot of innovation and opportunity to meet people and network and connect in business and socially and in many areas of your life. But with Jupiter in Pisces, it's in its ancient dignity because it rules Pisces in ancient astrology. So it does love being in Pisces. It expands through the imagination and through intuition. And for you, it's expanding financial opportunities. It's in your house of income and what you value and how you can be creative. And it may be helping you to slow down a little bit because you've really been the star of the zodiac since the end of last year when Saturn and Jupiter both met up at the very first degree of your sign on the winter solstice. So Jupiter is in your house of money, expanding your financial opportunities. Saturn is in your sign until March 7th of 2023. So it's a very, very significant time in your life this next couple of years. And this year really began with a huge new vision of what you want to magnetize. So we've got that going on, but there's been a lot of mutability. So whether there's been endings with friends or maybe information was uncovered in some friendships, and then there's been a lot of energy with the Gemini story because Mercury, which is the planet of communication, entered the mutable air sign of Gemini on May 3rd, and it will be there until July 11th. And it's been transiting in your house of romance and children and creativity and love affairs and fun and joy. And it's an area that you're reassessing how you can be creative, how you can have fun and be joyful in a time where you have a lot of work to do. This is again a hugely pivotal time in your life because once Saturn leaves your sign, it won't come back for approximately another 27 years. And Jupiter will be in your sign on and off until the end of this year, and it won't come back for again another 11 years approximately. So you really want to make the most of both of these planets and what you really want to anchor in your life. And there have been a lot of choices, a lot of options. The new moon eclipse occurred on June 10th at 19 degrees and 47 minutes of the mutable air sign of Gemini. It is a sign of duality. It's a fellow air sign, so it's very compatible with your own, and it fell in your house of love and joy and what makes you happy. So finding new ways to create that and magnetize that in your life. And as we begin the month of July, Venus and Mars are both transiting in the fixed fire sign of Leo, which is your opposite sign, and they're transiting in your house of relationships and partnerships. This is an excellent opportunity for networking, connecting with others, if you're building a clientele, if you have your own business. If you're single, it's excellent for meeting people and connecting and dating. So very nice energy. And the sun is transiting in the cardinal water sign of Cancer in your house of work and daily routine and habits, bringing light to that area of your life so that you can, get healthy and focus on being productive. And on July 1st, Mars opposes Saturn at 9:08 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Saturn is the planet of restrictions and responsibility, and it's in your sign, in your house of self, until March 7th of 2023. So when Mars opposes Saturn in your sign, that's a turning point, a bit of seeing what needs patience to build, and maybe there could be some blocks with relationships. There could be a little bit of friction. It might require some patience, but it's also a good day for doing work that needs a lot of patience and attention to detail. But a lot of us will be traveling in the United States over that time frame because we will be having a national holiday. So again, we may need patience because that could bring delays. And then on July 1st, we have another aspect. The sun forms a semi-sextile to the north node of destiny, and that occurs at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that could bring good opportunity for work for you, for connecting. So that's a nice energy to pay attention to. On July 2nd, Mars forms a trine to Chiron, which is the wounded healer. And Chiron is transiting in your third house of networking and communication and local community, and addressing your wounds through writing, through journaling, and also getting involved in your local environment as we all heal together, because that's really the age of Aquarius, is healing on the collective as we rebuild. And Mars is giving you the courage to connect with others and partner with others, and that's a nice energy. On July 3rd, we're getting more into the holiday weekend. And let's see, so the moon forms the moon enters the fixed earth sign of Taurus at 8:28 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it will be in Taurus for the holiday weekend. And it loves being in Taurus. It's exalted there, and it's going to be very busy. On the 3rd, it forms what's known as a sextile, and that's a helpful aspect. And that occurs at 12:19 p.m. It sextiles Jupiter, the luckiest planet. And then later that day, at 5:06 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Jupiter forms what's known as a quintile, and that's a 72-degree angle. And it's very magical, and it can create fairy tales and really helpful things that come into your life. Very magical, just really cool things. And it forms a quintile to Uranus. And for you, that could bring opportunities with finances or with home or family, and just feeling really creative and prosperous. And it's a really magical energy that we all need to focus on over the weekend, because there will be some ups and downs, but that's a really lovely energy that will be resonating throughout the weekend. And then later in the day, Mars squares Uranus at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And with that, that could bring accidents or people acting in an impulsive manner or being erratic. So just knowing to be extra mindful on the road, and that people will be unpredictable. And late on July 3rd at 10:44 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, or early on July 4th at 1:44 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Venus squares the moon, and that can be a bit challenging. Later it goes on to square Saturn. It can be restrictive, and then it's going to sextile the sun, which is helpful, and then the moon is going to be with Uranus at 12:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can bring surprises. Maybe there are people you're not expecting at certain events. Maybe there are little changes in plans. We all have to, again, be flexible over the weekend. And then at 1:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the moon squares Mars. So more of this kind of Mars fiery energy. And on July 4th, the sun squares Chiron, the wounded healer. And that also makes sense because there'll be many people that will be absent in our lives during these festivities and over the summer and just going forward, and just recognizing and honoring those that are not with us and all of the loss that we've all experienced, you know. And on July 5th, the sun forms a helpful sextile to Uranus, and that can be very innovative energy in work and in getting your needs met and doing things at home. So that's a nice energy. July 6th is a little more an energy you may want to lay low. Mercury forms a square to Neptune. Mercury is still in Gemini a little while longer, and it's squaring Neptune. It does so at 3:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That can bring miscommunication. Sometimes it can bring deception or just, you know, misinterpreting what the other means. And then later that day, Venus opposes Saturn at 10:36 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can be challenging around partnerships and relationships for you, because Venus is transiting in your house of relationships and Saturn is your house of self. So if you can do work on your own, Mercury squaring Neptune is very creative energy, really good for manifesting and journaling, but not so much for working with others on that day. And then on July 8th, Venus squares Uranus at 3:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can bring unexpected relationship opportunities to meet people, or maybe projects at home or for work if you have your own business. With Uranus, expect the unexpected, but I feel that that's a very creative energy. And then on July 9th, there is a new moon that takes place at 9:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 13 degrees and 28 minutes of the cardinal water sign of Cancer. And this new moon takes place in your house of work and daily routine. The moon rules the sign of Cancer. It loves being in Cancer. And this is a really good moon for you, for focusing on getting healthy in whatever area you want to upgrade in your life, whether it's your exercise routine, whether it's getting enough rest or enough sleep. Maybe you're not meditating enough. Maybe you're not finding enough time to socialize with people or connect with others, which is also important for your mental health. Whatever it is, finding ways to initiate new beginnings, whatever habits and work you want to begin. It's a really good new moon. And then on July 12th, on July 11th rather, Mercury finally leaves the sign of Gemini and enters the cardinal water sign of Cancer at 4:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it will be there until July 27th, and it will also be transiting in your house of work and habits. So that's more energy on focusing on that area of your life. On July 12th, Mercury forms a very helpful trine to Jupiter, which is the grand benefic. That's really good for financial opportunities, could bring in money, could bring in good new work opportunities, and good for feeling optimistic. On July 13th, there's very sexy energy and very creative energy. Venus and Mars both meet up at 9:33 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 19 degrees of the fixed fire sign of Leo. And this falls in your house of relationships and partnerships. Again, if you're single, excellent for dating. It's good for everyone, no matter what area of the chart it's falling. Very romantic, very fiery energy and fun, and good for partnering professionally, good for partnering in any way you want. Nice energy. On July 15th, the Sun forms a trine to Neptune at 4:49 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that's a very creative and manifesting energy. Could be good for work and for your routines, and good for financial opportunities. And then at 12:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Chiron, which is the wounded healer, stations retrograde at 12:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And this falls in your house of communication, and perhaps there's vulnerability in how you express yourself, or maybe we've all been going through so much. Maybe it's hard for you to express what you're feeling, and just re-examining how you can get your needs met. And maybe a good use again would be writing or journaling or communicating in some way. Maybe it's taking classes. And then on July 17th, the Sun opposes Pluto at 6:46 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And pardon me, that could deal with issues at work and power playing and struggles that could represent endings. It's a good time for eliminating negative habits, because the Sun is transiting in your house of habits and daily routine, but people could be a little bit combative with that energy. On July 21st, Venus enters the mutable Earth sign of Virgo, where it will be until August 15th. And for you that's focusing on your routine and habits, it's focusing on your money and healing and on joint resources, and it will be there until the middle of August. So it's good for if you have debt, or if you're dealing with loans or any kind of joint resources. Maybe you're dealing with your investments. Also good for dealing with healing work and feeling more positive about that process. On July 22nd, the Sun enters the fixed fire sign of Leo, which is your opposite sign, and it will be there until August 22nd. It's transiting in your 7th house of partnerships and relationships. The Sun shines wherever it is, so it's bringing light to that area of your life. But sometimes you might find when the Sun is in the opposite sign that you could feel a little tired. Sometimes I've found that can be, but nonetheless it's bringing light to your area of relationships. And then on July 23rd, there is a full moon that takes place at 37 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 1 degree and 26 minutes of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. And this occurs in your house of self and new beginnings. Saturn briefly entered your sign from March 23rd until July 1st of last year, and it got as far as 1 degree of Aquarius. This full moon brings completion to what you've been working on since last spring, and hopefully you've been working hard. Saturn's been in your sign. It rewards your hard efforts, and hopefully you're getting some resolution with what you've been dealing with, and I think that's a big deal for you. And then on July 25th, Mercury opposes Pluto at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that could bring issues with work, or it could be arguments, or battle with communication. So good for doing research projects, very good for that, but not so much for working with others. And then on July 27th, Mercury enters the fixed fire sign of Leo, where it will be until August 11th, and it's transiting in your house of Your house of relationships, which can be friends, but all forms of relationships. Good for networking with others and dating and connecting with other people. On July 28th, Jupiter, which is the grand benefic, re-enters your sign at 8:43 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that's a big deal. It'll be there until December 29th. It goes back as far as 22 degrees of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. And this is how you expand, how you bring in good fortune, how you magnetize and manifest many different opportunities and open many doors in your life. So that's a big deal and one to really pay attention to. And then on July 29th, Mars opposes Jupiter at 11:50 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then it enters the mutable Earth sign of Virgo at 4:32 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where it will be until September 14th. And this is a time of getting focused on your financial habits, on doing healing work. If there's unblocked wounds, really doing the inner healing work to address that, and also on your finances, if there's debt or taxes you owe, or just on focusing on your financial assets. It's a big use of that. And really also on doing self-healing work. It's really good for self-empowerment. I wish you the best of luck, and thanks very much, Aquarius. Take care.